here we go. You've been waiting for this. It ain't a Pong movie that was rumored, but we're getting a Tetris movie. Now, it's not an animated movie seeing Tetris blocks come down. It's actually a decent idea.
Yeah.
So, the story of Alexey Pajitnov, who I met him. I met the guy. That was a whole weird thing hosting that Tetris tournament. But it's going to be a story about his life creating Tetris and how he was in Russia and how, all the deals and everything. So it's going to put him back probably in '84 when he came up with it, when he was basically working for a Soviet-funded company, and came up with a puzzle idea. And I think it wasn't even it was just a test, computer computer specs and things of that nature versus coming out with a game that would revolutionize, gaming. So Brett Ratner is attached to this. Before you say, "Oh, Brett Ratner's terrible," Brett Ratner is sort of like a tool as a director. You got to make sure you use him for the right job. You don't use a screwdriver to hammer a nail. So, Brett Ratner gets a lot of guff for X-Men 3. He was brought in the last minute on X-Men 3.
But this is something. So this is going to be the story of how Tetris was made.
Yeah,
and things like that. Honestly, you don't need a great or flashy director for this. You can have someone who's strictly utilitarian.
You need a good script.
Yeah.
Brett Ratner directed Red Dragon, which also was done as Manhunter. It's a Thomas Harris novel. It's the first in the Hannibal Lecter series. And Red Dragon was a pretty good movie.
Never saw it.
It was a pretty good movie. Had a good script based on good source material. So it's not like just because Brett Ratner's attached it's going to be awful. Again, X-Men 3, he was brought in, I think it was like 6 weeks before they were going to start shooting, he was brought in, which is, yeah.
Oh. I didn't know that.
Yes, it was like, all right.
That explains a lot.
Because someone thought it was a good idea to abandon it to go do Superman Returns and ruin 2 franchises instead of only 1. Anyway, which was, what's his name? He was doing Apocalypse. Anyway, so there's nothing else really about this that we know about, but it's the Rat. It doesn't have the best reputation. I'll give it a fair shake. Again, it's going to be the script. If the script's good, this will be a probably good, fun movie.
I'm interested from the start simply because I think the basic story of Tetris is interesting.
Now, I think it's interesting, though, also is that with this and then Console Wars and that, we're getting into this cool stage where you're getting dramatic sort of video game themed movies.
Yeah.
Console Wars is probably going to be sort of the same tone of the Social Network, the Facebook movie.
Well, that's what people are saying about this, that they're going to go for that tone.
Console Wars by my pal Brett Ratner, who did the Brett Ratner. God, Brett Ratner is on my Blake Harris, my friend.
My friend Brett Ratner.
Blake Harris, who wrote the foreword to Ultimate Nintendo Guide to the NES Library.